Hey guys, today we're diving into a year that has held a special place in the hearts of many. It's 2006. From epic adventures to groundbreaking innovations, 2006 left an indelible mark on the gaming landscape. Join us as we take a look back at the best games that defined the year. Get ready to rediscover the magic, excitement and joy that these games brought to our screens. So, sit back and let's familiarize ourselves with the gaming experiences that made 2006 an unforgettable year. Without further ado, let's start the countdown. Dark Messiah of Might and Magic is a first-person role-playing game developed by Arcane Studios. Discover a new kind of action RPG, created on an improved version of Valve's Source engine. Dark Messiah of Might and Magic players will experience brutal battles in a dark and exciting fantasy setting. The player controls Sereth, apprentice to the wizard Fenrid, after he is sent to the city of Stonehelm to accompany an expedition attempting to find a powerful artifact known as the Skull of Shadows. Discover a fresh perspective with full-body awareness, realistic movement, physical rendering and a full melee system. Unstoppable action. Challenge the forces of evil across 12 huge levels and learn to wield over 30 weapons and an arsenal of devastating spells. Develop your character and expand your gameplay experience beyond a single discipline. Learn powerful new spells and attacks using Dark Messiah's unique skill evolution system as you progress through the game. Get ready to battle against up to 32 players in the revolutionary Crusade mode, which allows players to gain experience and new skills in dynamic online campaigns. FlatOut 2 is a 2006 racing video game developed by Bugbear Entertainment, published by Empire Interactive in Europe and Vivendi Universal Games in North America. This game focuses on street racing. A notable new feature in the game is tire traction. Players can better control their car, worrying less about skidding on tight corners. There are 3 classes of cars in the game: derby, racing, and street. During a race, the driver can be thrown out of the car if he crashes into a wall at high speed. In the many stunt games, the goal is to jump out of the car and accomplish tasks such as knocking down a set of bowling pins, hitting certain spots on a dart target, scoring a game ball, or flying through burning hoops. Players must use aerobatics to control the driver in flight, but overuse of it will increase drag, which will slow the driver down and possibly prevent him or her from reaching the designated goal. If the driver in flight fails to reach the target, players can use nudge. This gives the driver a slight upward momentum and slightly reduces resistance. Tomb Raider Legend is an adventure video game developed by Crystal Dynamics and published by Eidos Interactive. It is the 7th major installment in the Tomb Raider series and its reboot, reimagining the origin and character of the series' protagonist Lara Croft. The game was released in 2006 for Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 2, Xbox, Xbox 360, PlayStation Portable, GameCube, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS and cell phones. Legend details Lara Croft's search for the mythical sword Excalibur, racing around the world against her former girlfriend Amanda Ever. The gameplay sees Lara navigating linear levels, battling enemies and solving environmental puzzles to advance. After the critical failure of Core Design's Tomb Raider, The Angel of Darkness, Eidos handed over development of the next Tomb Raider to American developer Crystal Dynamics, which began production in 2004. The goal was to revitalize the franchise with both gameplay and Lara herself. Lara creator Toby Gad was brought in to help with this, and he was heavily involved in the project. Legend received generally positive reviews, with many praising the game as a return to form for the series, and it either won or was nominated for several gaming awards, selling over 3 million copies worldwide. Legend helped revitalize the Tomb Raider brand and re-establish Lara Croft as a gaming icon. Warhammer 40,000 Dawn of War. Dark Crusade is the second expansion to the real-time strategy video game Warhammer 40,000, Dawn of War, developed by Relic Entertainment and published by THQ. Based on the tabletop war game Warhammer 40,000, Dark Crusade was released on October 9, 2006, after the Eldar on Lorne V break their alliance with the Imperial Guard during the events of Winter Assault. The Guard forms a task force led by Colonel Lucas Alexander to hunt down their leader, Soothsayer Taldir. The awakening of the Necrons on the outskirts of the planet Cronus triggers her journey to the planet, pursued by Alexander. The planet has been under the tenuous control of the Tau Empire for centuries, which wrested the planet from the Imperium of humanity and enslaved its human population. Fire Warrior protagonist Case leads the Tau forces arriving on the planet. The Wild Orcs are united into one force with the arrival of the warboss Gorguts, who killed the former ruler of Lorne V, Chaos Lord Krull. The commander of Lord Chaos Eliphaz's forces from the undivided Chaos unit of the Wordbearers arrives, in turn to conquer the world and retrieve Krull's skull. Order Master Azariah Kiras has tasked the Blood Raven space troopers under the command of Captain Davian Tooley to cleanse the world and find relics and information pertaining to the Order's early history. However, Tooley's orders lead him into conflict with Imperial Guard forces. Need for Speed Carbon is a 2006 racing video game, the 10th installment in the Need for Speed series, developed by EA Black Box, Rovio Mobile and published by Electronic Arts. It was released on October 31, 2006 for PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, Xbox, Xbox 360, GameCube, Windows and Mac OS X. Players conduct illegal street races in the fictional city of Palmont City, with the main plot of the game taking place after the events of Need for Speed, Most Wanted, and focusing on how the player character takes control of the city from various street racing gangs. The game also focuses on different styles of racing, using a variety of licensed real cars that can be upgraded and customized with new parts, while battling the police who try to thwart the player. Racing events focus on competitive racing with other drivers on circuits or point-to-point routes, control point races, and races involving sprinting or drifting, with players able to use nitrous oxide and speed breakers to win races or get out of difficult situations. The game itself features 4 game modes: Career, Quick Race, Challenge Series, and Multiplayer. Company of Heroes is a real-time strategy video game released in 2006 by Relic Entertainment and published by THQ for Windows and OS X operating systems. The action of Company of Heroes takes place during World War II and features 2 playable factions. Players seek to capture strategic resource sectors located across the map, which they use to build base structures, produce new units, and defeat enemies. In the single-player campaign, the player commands 2 U.S. military units during the Battle of Normandy with Operation Overlord and the liberation of France with Operation Cobra. Depending on the mission, the player controls either Able Company, 116th Infantry Regiment, 29th Infantry Division or Fox Company, 506th Regiment, 101st Airborne Division. Company of Heroes was widely acclaimed, winning numerous awards as the best strategy game of the year and was recognized as one of the best video games. The success of the game led to the sequel Company of Heroes 2, which was released in 2013. Company of Heroes allows multiplayer matches for 1 to 8 players via LAN or internet. For Company of Heroes, developer Relic Entertainment used a new online player matching system called Relic Online. Previous Relic games used GameSpy Arcade or World Opponent Network services. This system includes many features not found in previous systems, including a built-in automatic search and ranking system. Hitman Blood Money is a 2006 stealth video game developed by IO Interactive and published by Eidos Interactive. It was released in May 2006 for Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 2, Xbox and Xbox 360. It is the 4th installment in the Hitman video game series and the sequel to 2004's Hitman: Contracts. Hitman Blood Money features a player-controlled protagonist, Agent 47, who is assigned various targets to destroy in order to complete missions. Armed guards, checkpoints, witnesses, and other obstacles attempt to hinder Agent 47's success. The player guides Agent 47 through the levels of the game in a third-person view. A map showing each topographical area and the location of targets and characters assists the player. To complete his mission, Agent 47 uses several methods to eliminate targets, regardless of witnesses or violence towards bystanders. Blood Money punishes players for making too much noise or being too aggressive. Blood Money was a critical and commercial success. With over 2.1 million copies sold, it has become iconic and is considered by many publications and critics to be one of the greatest video games ever made. Half-Life 2 Episode 1 is a first-person shooter developed and published by Valve for Windows in 2006. It continues the story of Half-Life 2, starring Gordon Freeman as a scientist. Players must leave City 17 with Gordon's companion Alex Vance. Like previous Half-Life games, Episode 1 combines shooting, puzzles, and storytelling. After 6 years of development on Half-Life 2, Valve switched to episodic development, hoping to release games more frequently. In Episode 1, they focused on developing the character of Alex and expanded her artificial intelligence. It utilizes an updated version of Valve's Source Engine with new lighting and animation techniques. Episode 1 received mostly positive reviews. The cooperative gameplay with Alex received special praise. In Episode 1, players progress through a linear series of levels and encounter a variety of enemies and allies. Gameplay is divided into combat challenges and physics-based puzzles. Episode 1 integrates tutorial-like tasks into the story to familiarize the player with the new game mechanics without breaking the immersion. A projection display appears on the screen that shows the character's health, energy, and ammo throughout the game. The gamer gains access to new weapons and ammunition that are used to defend the character against enemy forces. Unlike Half-Life 2, where Gordon Freeman's first weapon is a crowbar, the character first acquires a gravity gun, which plays a crucial role in the game, allowing the player to use physics to manipulate objects at a distance, both in combat and when solving puzzles. The artificial intelligence of Alex Vance, Gordon's companion, was specifically designed for cooperative play in Episode 1 to complement the player's abilities. The developers described Alex's program for Episode 1 as personality code, rather than AI code, emphasizing the attention they paid to making Alex a unique and believable companion. Bully is an adventure video game developed by Rockstar Vancouver and published by Rockstar Games. It was released on October 17, 2006 for the PlayStation 2. The game is third-person and its open world can be navigated on foot, skateboard, scooter, bicycle or go-kart. The single-player story is set in the fictional town of Bulworth. The story is about a juvenile delinquent high school student, James "Jimmy" Hopkins, who is forcibly enrolled for a year at the Bulworth Academy boarding school and works hard to climb the ranks of the school system to put an end to bullying. Throughout the story, Jimmy progresses through 6 chapters and advances through the ranks of school groups whose archetypes include bullies, nerds, majors, greasers, athletes, and townspeople. Players control Jimmy, who tries to become more popular among the school's various cliques, while also attending classes and completing various side missions. Bully received positive reviews, including the game's missions, narrative, character development, and soundtrack. The original Bully sold over 1.5 million copies and won numerous end-of-year awards. Final Fantasy XII is a role-playing video game developed and published by Square Enix. It is the 12th main installment in the Final Fantasy series. It was first released for the PlayStation 2 in 2006. It introduced several innovations to the series, including an open world, a seamless combat system, a controlled camera, a customizable gambit system that allows the player to control the artificial intelligence of characters in battle, a license system that determines what abilities and equipment characters can use, and hunting side quests that allow the player to find and defeat increasingly difficult monsters in the game's open world. Final Fantasy XII also incorporates elements from previous games in the series, such as Chocobo and Moogla. The game is set in Ivalice, where the empires of Arcadia and Rosaria are engaged in a never-ending war. Dalmasca, a small kingdom, is sandwiched between the warring nations. When Dalmasca is annexed by Arcadia, its Princess Ashe creates a resistance movement. During the struggle, she meets Vaughn, a young adventurer who dreams of becoming a sky pirate commanding an airship. They are quickly joined by a group of allies, and together they rally against the tyranny of the Arcadian Empire. Throughout the game, the player directly controls a third-person on-screen character, interacting with people, objects, and enemies. Unlike previous games in the series, the player can also control the camera using the right analog joystick, allowing for a 360 degrees view of the surrounding area. While in cities and towns, the player can only see from Vaughn's point of view, but on the field, any character can be controlled. The world of Final Fantasy XII is displayed to scale relative to the characters in it, instead of a caricature of a character wandering around a miniature terrain as in earlier Final Fantasy games. Each area is represented proportionally. The player moves through the world on foot, on Chocobo, or by airship. Players can save their game to a memory card using save crystals or gate crystals, and can use the latter to teleport between gate crystals. Final Fantasy XII was a commercial success, winning several Game of the Year awards and selling over 6 million copies on the PlayStation 2 by November 2009. The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess is an adventure video game developed and published by Nintendo for the GameCube and Wii. The Wii version was released in North America in November 2006, and was released in Japan, Europe, and Australia the following month. The GameCube version was released in December 2006 as the last proprietary game for the console. The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess is an adventure game focused on combat, exploration and puzzle solving. The story centers on the protagonist Link, who is trying to prevent the Kingdom of Hyrule from being taken over by the tainted parallel dimension known as the Twilight Realm. To do this, Link takes on the guise of both a Hylian and a wolf, and is aided by a mysterious demon named Midna. The game features 9 dungeons, large enclosed areas where Link fights enemies, collects items, and solves puzzles. The dungeons are connected by a large world that Link can travel through on foot, or on horseback, or by teleporting with Midna's help. When Link enters the Twilight realm, a void that ruins parts of Hyrule, he transforms into a wolf. As a wolf, Link loses the ability to use his sword, shield, or any secondary items. Instead, he attacks by biting and defends himself by mostly dodging attacks. Link in wolf form gains several key advantages. He moves faster, digs holes to create new passageways and find buried items, and has enhanced senses including the ability to follow scent trails. On his back, he also carries Midna, a small demon-like creature that gives him hints, uses his energy field to attack enemies, helps him jump long distances, and ultimately allows him to move to any of several predetermined locations throughout gameplay. Upon release, Twilight Princess received critical acclaim, winning multiple Game of the Year awards. By 2015, it had sold 85 million copies worldwide, making it the best-selling Zelda game ever. Dead Rising is an action-adventure computer game developed and published by Capcom. The game was released on August 8, 2006 in North America and September 8, 2006 in Europe. The game was a commercial success, thanks to which it was introduced in the Platinum Hits lineup for Xbox 360. The main character of the game is journalist-photographer Frank West, who finds himself in the fictional town of Willamette, Colorado, USA. The town is overrun by hordes of infected. One of the last safe places is a huge shopping center, where zombies also manage to get in. The hero needs to rescue survivors, destroy the infected and psychopaths, solve the mystery of the incident, and all this in 72 hours. Otherwise, the pilot hired by Frank will simply abandon him in the city. The gamer is not constrained by the limits of the plot. He can explore the game world freely, visiting all kinds of locations, finding various items and doing side quests. The combat system of the game is diverse. Its main feature: the player is free to use as a weapon almost anything that comes in his way. It can be a wooden stick, and TV, and pruning shears. Therefore, the game has a variety of weapons, both for close combat and firearms. Each weapon has an individual style, radius of defeat, and strength. Firearms do not have spare magazines, and also do not allow the character to move. In addition to a variety of weapons, the character has a few of his own techniques for attacking. These are unlocked as the character levels up. In addition to killing zombies, the player needs to complete various tasks to level up. More often these are rescuing survivors or fighting psychopaths. The survivors are in different parts of the mall and in different conditions. All survivors need to be brought to a safe place. Battles with psychopaths take place in different places and at different times. For destroying them, the player gets a lot of experience. The player can also take pictures, which will bring him some experience points. Mortal Kombat Armageddon is a 2006 fighting game, the seventh major installment of the Mortal Kombat franchise and the sequel to 2004's Mortal Kombat: Deception. The PlayStation 2 and Xbox versions were released in October 2006, and the Wii version was released on May 29, 2007 in North America. The game features almost all of the characters from the previous games. Players choose one of them and fight other fighters to determine the fate of the Mortal Kombat universe. The gameplay retains many elements from previous Mortal Kombat games Deadly Alliance and Deception, including several character fighting styles. Instead of the prescribed fatalities from previous games, players can now create their own fatalities from a series of bloody attacks. They can also create their own character using the Create a Fighter mode. Armageddon is the latest Mortal Kombat game for 6th generation consoles and the first 7th generation console game released for the Wii. Each character has two fighting styles, one melee and one weapon. Some major bosses, such as Onaga, only have one fighting style available. Other characters, such as Smoke and Mocap, do not have a weapon style, but have a second unarmed style. Armageddon also introduces two new combat systems, the Air Combat Combo System, and the Combo Breaker Style Parry System. Also new to the series is the ability to create fatalities. 11 levels can be achieved with Create Fatality. The lowest is Basic Fatality, and the highest is Absolute Fatality. The higher the number of inputs for Fatality, the more coins are given to the player. Gears of War is a third-person shooter computer game developed by Epic Games and published by Microsoft Game Studios in 2006. The plot of the game is set on the planet Sarah, where mankind was drawn into a terrible war with a ruthless subterranean enemy, a reptiloid, nicknamed Locust. The main character of the game is SGT, Marcus Phoenix, a veteran of the Pendulum Wars, a former prisoner, a tough and battle-hardened fighter, leading a small Delta squad. To successfully complete the game, the player will need to use cover and intelligently think through tactics. That is, the main emphasis in the game is on the player's use of cover so that characters do not get injured during tactical movements on the terrain. An active element of the game is the so-called active reload, which allows you to increase the damage dealt for a short time. A second player can join the campaign in co-op mode. The campaign can be played on 3 difficulty levels: casual, hardcore and insane. The last one is opened only if the game is played on one of the first 2 levels. Gears of War multiplayer offers gameplay for up to 8 people, divided into 2 teams, Coalition and Locust Soldiers. All online matches can be played either in ranked mode, where the player's progress is tracked through a leaderboard, or in player mode, where you can customize the map and invite friends. But all statistics are not saved anywhere. Gears of War sold over 3 million copies in 10 weeks and became the fastest-selling game of 2006. By September 2008, the game had sold 5 million copies. Gears of War was well received by critics, who praised the gameplay and elaborate graphics, and won several Best Game of 2006 awards. The success of the game led to the continuation of the Gears of War series, including the sequel Gears of War 2, and the threequel Gears of War 3, as well as books and comics based on the game's world. The Elder Scrolls IV: Oblivion is an open-world role-playing video game developed by Bethesda Game Studios and co-published by Bethesda Softworks, 2K Games, and Ubisoft. It was released for Microsoft Windows and Xbox 360 in 2006. The game is set in the fictional province of Cyrodiil. The main story centers on the player character's efforts to thwart a fanatical cult known as the Mythic Dawn, which plans to open a gateway portal to the demonic realm known as Oblivion. The game continues the open-world tradition of its predecessors by allowing the player to travel anywhere in the game world at any time and ignore or postpone the main storyline indefinitely. The player can complete side quests, interact with non-player characters, dispatch monsters, develop their character, and travel anywhere in the province of Cyrodiil at any time during the game, provided that these areas are not designated for specific quests and are otherwise inaccessible when not questing. The game never ends, and the player can continue after completing the main quest. Character development is a core element of Oblivion. At the beginning of the game, players choose one of 10 humanoid or anthropomorphic races, each with different natural abilities, and customize their character's appearance. The player's ongoing goal is to improve their character's skills, which are numerical representations of their abilities in certain areas. 7 skills are chosen at the beginning of the game as primary skills, while the rest are called secondary skills. Players level up each time they improve their primary skills by a total of 10 points. This gives them the opportunity to improve their characterization. The development of Oblivion began in 2002, with a choice of tighter-paced gameplay and more story focus than previous games. For graphics development, Bethesda used an improved Havoc physics engine, lighting with extended dynamic range, procedural content generation tools that allowed developers to quickly create detailed landscapes, and a radiant AI system that allowed non-player characters to create choices and engage in behaviors more complex than in past games. Upon release, Oblivion was a critical and commercial success, winning a number of industry and publisher awards. It was praised for its impressive graphics, expansive game world, and schedule-driven NPCs, and is considered one of the greatest games ever made. As we wrap up our review of the best games of 2006, we can see that this year was a pivotal moment in gaming history. From the intense battles of Dark Messiah of Might and Magic to the mesmerizing narrative of The Elder Scrolls IV: Oblivion, each of the games we reviewed left an indelible mark on gamers around the world. The year 2006 was a time of innovation that pushed the boundaries of what was possible in the world of gaming. The creativity, passion and dedication of developers in that era laid the foundation for the incredible experiences we enjoy today. Looking back, we can't help but appreciate the impact these games had in shaping the industry and the direction of future games. We hope that this journey through the best games of 2006 has brought back fond memories and given you a new appreciation for the classics. As we look forward to the future of gaming, let's not forget the magic that made 2006 an unforgettable year in the world of interactive entertainment. Thank you for joining us on this nostalgic adventure. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, don't forget to like, subscribe and share your favorite gaming memories of 2006 in the comments below. See you next time.